All right. After losing 100 viewers, we are back and ready to play some more Modern here. We've got Grixis, Death Shadow. It's a pretty fairly stock tier 1, 1.5, 2. I don't like assigning arbitrary tiers, but it's a good deck that puts up results, some consistency in the format. It's got a lot of, for people that are new that might not be familiar, this deck has a lot of disruptive elements with discard spells like Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek, along with 1-mana counter spells like Stubborn Denial, and then it puts a very quick clock on its opponent with cards like Gurmag Angler and the deck's namesake Death Shadow, which gets bigger the lower our health total gets. And then Temur Battle Rage is kind of a combo style finish by giving one of our threats Double Strike and Trample. So Death Shadow can get very large very quickly in this deck, and then Temur Battle Rage lets it go over the top of people. Yeah, we cleared those first 2 decks in just 2 hours, so probably gonna get to at least a 5th deck today, maybe a 6th. We'll see how all these go. I mean, this hand's a keep. I don't really know what it is though, because like Thought Scour and Faithless Looting like change the context of our hand here, so kind of could be anything. I think I'm on the draw, so that'll dictate what we do on one a little bit. Turn 1 Celestial Colonnade, okay. I'm gonna play Delta and pass here. Opponent could have something like Search for Azcanta on turn 2, to which I would like to use Stubborn Denial as a soft step. And then if they don't have anything that I want to use Stubborn Denial on, I get to fetch Shock for Thought Scour here. I'm going to grab an extra red source here, because the opponent's deck plays the card Field of Vryn, which can try and cut us off of our red if I don't have enough sources. Alright, Gurmag Angler is a pretty good hit here. I'm going to shock this in and cast Faithless Looting, which lets us get rid of this Dismember that's otherwise not particularly useful. I'm waiting to cast the Gurmag Angler because I want to be able to hold up Stubborn Denial when I cast it, so that way I can protect it for something like a Path to Exile, for instance. The Serum Visions wouldn't mind finding an additional blue source here, so that way I can hold up 2 stubs. Double Death Shadow on top of my deck. So my opponent's likely playing blue-white control, which means I kind of want all of the threats I can get, but the issue is these Death Shadows don't actually do anything yet, right? Like I'm at 15, and I have no other way in sight to hammer my health total here. I think I'm actually supposed to ship these. Blue Newbie, thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Like I'm gonna get to shuffle them back in at some point when I find a fetch land eventually. And like I don't feel like I can afford to like brick my next 2 draws essentially. Hopefully this Inquisition plus the Stubborn Denial is gonna let this Gurmag Angler live. I don't think it's an easy anything, but I think bottoming is correct. Think twice. Yep. That's a card. All right, we hit the other blue source here. So Inquisition kind of lets me know like if it's safe to jam the Gurmag this turn, or if I want to wait till next turn when I have double stub up. And it is incredibly safe to jam this Gurmag Angler into play. So we're going to take this Path to Exile away from them here. I'm going to go ahead and play the Swamp and then cast this. So this has a mechanic called Delve. So even though its casting cost is 7, I get to just exile a bunch of cards from my discard pile rather than paying for that casting cost. Yep, this is Grixis Shadow Kitty. We pay with blood, not mana in this deck. Yeah, basically. Now, Sans a Supreme Verdict. We should be in a very good spot here. Ooh, opponent fetched a Swamp, so they're playing Esper. I suppose they could have, like, double removal this turn, but that's pretty unlikely. So once we get to untap with double stub, anything but a Supreme Verdict, we can pretty much answer. And I don't really think there's an incentive for me to flashback my Faithless Looting, because I kind of like all 4 of the cards in my hand, and I really don't want to not have double blue up. As long as there are 2 stubs left in my hand, I think I just want to leave double blue up. You cannot type commands in chat if you get timed out, Jojo. Removes all check capability for the person timed out. I disagree with that, Stormtrooper. If you look back on the time these Delve cards spent in Standard, I think it's very easy to conclude that, like, it's not the Delve mechanic's fault so much as it is the cards that surround it to also help push it over the top. Hey, Mr. Napier, happy Sunday to you too. Like, these cards were all perfectly fine when they were Standard legal. Fetch Shock, so I can play this Death Shadow as a 3/3. So my opponent's hand is Island, Spell Snare, Teferi, and then 2 cards I don't know now once they draw for the turn. Yeah, definitely, Garth. Thanks for being here. I think a big part of the problem with the cards that ended up being too pushed with Delve is the problem was that they didn't put enough colored mana symbols in them. So, like, things like Tombstalker and even Dig Through Time I think were pretty fine. It's when you could turn the cards into actual 1-mana spells that things became not okay very quickly. Stop it. If I hit Temur Battle Rage, they're dead here. This is a draw that could lead to them dying, right? This lets Fetches or Shocks kill them. Snap's not a terrible draw here because it means if they hit a sweeper next turn, I get to flash this in and deal the last 2. Oh, they do have Spell Snare, you're right. So in my small amounts of experience with this matchup, you don't actually want to cut all of your Fatal Pushes and Dismembers because there's going to be games where, like, you're hammering your health total to get the Death Shadow into play aggressively, which then opens the window for Celestial Colony to kill you, which Fatal Push and Dismember can prevent from happening. So I'm going to cut some of them. I'm going to bring in Disdainful Stroke. I think Collective Brutality is a little bit too slow and clunky. I think I'd rather have Stroke because Stroke also deals with Teferi and Jace, which is nice. Shattering Blow, I assume, is the artifact removal of choice because this beats Welding Jar. So a lot of the War Prison decks that are playing in Staring Bridge are playing a bunch of copies of Welding Jar to protect it, and this beats that. No, I'd assume this is more for Welding Jar than Wormcoil Engine. Wormcoil Engine, you can just, like, Disdainful Stroke or Rejection or, like, kill them through it. It's probably mostly for Welding Jar. Oh, it kills Lyra. Yeah, we went over this last time, too. I think I did this exact same thing last time, which is that I kept Fatal Push, And someone was like, no, you should play Dismember because it kills Lyra. And then I was like, yep, you're right. Well, killing Chalice, you would play a Braid, which also still kills Chalice JVL, so the Chalice isn't relevant. It's mostly for Welding Jar. So this should be a Dismember right now. Hopefully it ends up not being relevant, but that definitely could bite us. I concur that Fatal Push should be Dismember. Hey, Ash, thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate the third of the year. Welcome back. I think I'm going to ditch the Fatal Push for now. And this doesn't quite have anything to do yet. I think I'm going to... So I can fetch shock down to 9. I think I'd rather Gurmag Angler get exiled than... I think I'd rather Gurmag Angler go away than Death Shadow go away, because Shadow's going to get bigger. Leave Stub in there, because I can snap Stub later. Leaving up the Disdainful Stroke just in case they have, like, Jace as their play next turn. If they have Jace, they might just, like, jam and then try to unsummon. They brought in Surgical Extraction against me, sure. Jace, Vryn's Prodigy flashes back Thoughtseizes and Inquisitions and cantrips. So it's like card advantage too, but it does eventually like ult and then threaten to win the game via the emblem too. But it does just like generate card advantage as well. Just like this random cheap threat that you can get down early that sits there and generates card advantage for you. It's like stock-ish. Getting the Gurmag down ASAP is also better against Rest in Peace. How do you feel about aggressively Snapcaster Maging here? Is that crazy? I think I like aggro snap here. I like have the Jace telepath unbound. Should I hit something that I need to flashback? Like obviously could flashback Stroke later, but getting my threats down here seems kind of appealing. If we get Supreme Verdicted next turn, I feel a little bit bad. But outside of that, like in an okay spot. They've looked at our deck with Surgical Extraction, so did I forget to use this? I forgot to use this, yeah. Oh, you know, I should probably fetch before I do this. I could mill my lands over. I milled the Blood Crypt. Apparently their hand's not very good. And I really feel like if your name is not Gabriel Nassif, you probably shouldn't register blue-white control in Modern. This does not seem very good. I think Jeskai is marginally better than blue-white control because it can take an aggressive role on occasion, but in general, decks that are aiming to be interactive in Modern leave a lot to be desired, in my opinion. I think if you want to play a deck that wants to be interactive in Modern on occasion, it should be a deck like this that also has very powerful proactive nut straws. David, thank you very much for the 4-month resub there with your Twitch Prime. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch. Thanks for shipping that my way again this month. I feel like Matt Nass is too smart to register blue-white control. Like, Matt Nass likes playing decks that are, like, actually good in Modern. There's the reason why you always see him playing combo decks. Like, he tries to play combo decks even when they're not good. I can't imagine him not playing a combo deck in this format where they're all absurd. Have a good one, JoJo. Catch you later. Oh, you just hit blue-white control for a second time in a row. And I'm sure after I've trash-talked blue-white control, we're going to get unfortunate in the second time we play it, but is what it is. I think the way this hand is lined up, this is just a Snapcaster on 2 turn. Yep. Fetch land. Street Wraith. Yikes. We did get rid of the buckle up emote. It was poorly done. It was one of the low quality emotes that I had done myself that I ended up getting rid of when I had a professional do up some new ones for me. Ginger Cakes, thanks for the 21 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's take a peekaboo here. Mana Leak, rude. Well, poker face, poker face, my. Mana Leak, more like Mana Weak, am I right? Am I right? Alright, here's my stiff. That's all I got. Be gentle. Be gentle. This is the part where they play Jace on summon my thing. And just cry silently. Maybe I should have played Death Shadow because of the possibility of Jace. Well, they don't have a land. God bless. Hey, look. We drew another card that doesn't have a text box. Yay, magic. Ralphie, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. And Full Metal, thanks for checking in for 22. That is an incredibly long time. How did Narset go? We didn't win a match. It was awesome. Went quite excellent. Enjoyed every moment of it. We'd actually be in a pretty okay spot if these were cards that have text, but we just unfortunately drawn. It's like playing against Esper Control in Standard, right? Like, we're a kind of mid-rangey deck that, like, has a bunch of cards just, like, don't have text boxes in this matchup, so we're gonna lose because we drew too many of our cards that don't do anything. They cryptic this. I'm going to concede. Our hand's just got too many blanks in it for the matchup. Snapcaster, also concession worthy. Yeah, just move along here. And we will leave in the Dismembers and board out the Fatal Pushes this time through. As we know what's up, Buttercup. Pucker it. Pucker it, Buttercup. So, pushes out. And Temur Battle Rage out, sideboarded. Seems reasonable. Hey, Lilypad Swag. Thanks for the 13 months. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a great weekend. Ugh. I forgot to post that we were. Forgot to post a picture in the deck thing. This is sideboarded, but I'm gonna have it count. How do I feel about Amulet Titan? I think it's a deck that when it has Amulet of Vigor in play, it's incredibly powerful and reasonable. But when it doesn't have Amulet and Vigor in play, it's embarrassing and unplayable. I'm not convinced that you find Amulet of Vigor frequently enough for it to be a deck that I would like to play at like a tournament or something. I think if it's a deck that you really enjoy playing and you're looking to just play like local style things or like don't really care about your results, I think it's fine. I think it's a deck where if you run well and like find your amulets, you're gonna skate your way into top 8s because it is doing powerful things, but I am skeptical of the consistency of which it does those powerful things. Having the namesake card seems good. Only if you're not playing Kiki Chord. If you're playing Kiki Chord, having the namesake card is bad. What do I think about War Prison? I think any deck that's not proactive in Modern is not a deck that I'm interested in playing. I think this is a format that in general favors being proactive. Yikes. All right, hit me, dealer. Well, we tried. We milled 2 lands with that Thought Scour. Yikes. Yikes. What's going on, Twin? Yeah, my weekend hiatus is over. So I'm probably going to be going back to doing at least 1 day per weekend for the next month or so or more. We were so close. We were so close. We got an Inquisition here. I shocked this in because I can soft stub a Mana Leak or a Negate. Yeah, if you are someone who enjoys Legacy as a format, you need to go watch the Blue Black Tricks League on YouTube. If you didn't watch it live, it is very, very good. I think it's the first time I've ever posted a Legacy deck as a deck of the day. I take Purge here. It's more expensive than Path in terms of mana, but Path gives me a land, so I think that's fine. See, I disagree with that, Hasu. As someone who plays Modern, there are a number of board states where a Titan that is not accompanied alongside in which a Titan that is not accompanied alongside a copy of Amulet on turn 3 is not enough. I think it is disingenuous to say that turn 3 Titan wins the game a significant portion of the time. And also, the number of hands that generate Titan on turn 3 without Amulet are few and far between. You need to have Tribe Scout into Relic, exactly. And a lot of decks don't even play 4 Relics. So it's like kind of a tall ask from a statistical perspective. The Legacy Tricks deck was amazing. Great video, great gameplay. Tricks to means donate. Yeah, apparently there's some terrible Legacy deck that uses the name Tricks that I'm unaware of. A bunch of people commented on the video with that. Getting fielded. So this is actually kind of good for me. So they're field of ruining me here, which actually gives me, they should have just done this on their turn, because now I get to play this Snapcaster Mage and target Thoughtseize, and then I get to get a swamp and cast the Thoughtseize. The reason why people have been moving towards Hive Mind is precisely the fact that turn 3 Titan, even with Amulet, isn't enough sometimes. Look at that. Alright, so Path to Exile, I want to get the Island. And then the Field, I want to get the Swamp because I want to cast the Thoughtseize, and Field puts the land into play untapped here. Opponent's down to 3 cards in hand. They have Cryptic Command and Terminus. I'm going to take their Cryptic Command. I'm going to fetch Shock and cast the Death Shadow. We know a Legacy pleb like you doesn't have it. They draw a Snapcaster, seriously. Oh, that's so frustrating. Yeah, the path timing was strange. I agree, Scholar. Yeah, but they could have cast it in response. I guess they were just saving time. They were like planning to do that in response to the Thoughtseize anyways. They know we're casting the Thoughtseize. It's probably just time saving. It's one of those like, it is never strictly optimal to path when they path, but like it's gonna happen, so they might as well do it anyways. It's one of those. It's not technically correct, but in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. Sure, but I'm not arguing about the percentage of Amulet to turn 2. I'm arguing about the number of times Amulet just has Amulet and isn't embarrassing. And that's a much harder metric to calculate. And in my experience, I feel like it doesn't meet that metric. I don't think I can just let this happen. I think I want my Jace. This lets them keep their Snapcaster though, which kind of sucks for us. I think I'm gonna top that. Baby Jace do 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 do, baby Jace do 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 do, baby Jace do 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 do, baby Jace. Do 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 do. They draw Teferi. Hopefully they're just activating Colonnade here. Really want to just activate Colonnade since I have these Dismembers in my hand. So you want to kill the Celestial Colonnade during the enter combat phase before it's declared as an attacker. Because this way, if my opponent has something like a Spell Pierce or a Dispel, their Colonnade is tapped and doesn't get to attack me. The Rex. Thank you. Happy Easter to you too. This might be a game that we win on the back of this Telepath Unbound. Between Snap Stroke and like Stubborn Denial here as a soft stub, and the extra Dismember to cover this Colonnade, like they suspended AV. Jace ults before that happens, right? Let's go on Trex. Have a good sleep. Sorry, not sorry. Yes, unfortunately, I do not have. My office is not fully soundproofed yet, so when we build out the new one, we're gonna do that. Yep. I'm gonna see a Snap Opt here. Hopefully they fire up Celestial Colonnade next turn, and I'll get to Snap Dismember the Colonnade and Snap trade with their attacking Snap. I think is the ideal setup here. This is going to 3, so that is a little while before it comes off. My opponent put a card on bottom from the opt. You can tap mana for Dismember, right? They're attacking me. I guess that's fair. I'm going to do this and target Thought Scour, I think. I guess if they have like a Cryptic command here, or like a Snare, or there's a few cards that can make this go sideways for me. Should we lift up double black so we can Dismember without hurting ourselves? We can't Dismember without hurting ourselves regardless of which lands we tap, Jerry. I don't have another basic in my deck. Just like a unique collection of good cards, Jerry. I also don't have another basic in my deck. Yeah, this is not a shock land. Yeah, we're just taking 2. Yeah, it's super spooky. I guess we just hope they don't draw land, huh? Once they get rid of this, I actually don't have another way to take Celestial Colonnade off the table. Yeah, it's also just like really weird timing, right? Because like I was probably gonna take that hit there, so like surgicaling me to force me to Dismember feels weird. So like because I don't have answers to the Celestial Colonnade anymore, I think I actually have to pivot on the Jace plan to find cantrips and find threats ASAP to kill them. Pretty sure that's the case. I just can't wait anymore. Just need to put things into play that attack. One and 3 are pretty similar here. I guess that's not true. It's 1 attack from this. I don't care. All right, that's a fish. All right, go. There's a part where they rip a land and kill me. Their AV's also on 3 here, so like our window to beat them is kind of small. There's a chance they brick on land like next turn and the turn after, but like once the AV comes off, they're probably... I guess I can stub the AV technically. I'm like trying to think like what they can draw though, because like even their blanks are lethal at this point with the Colonnade. It's like what's an actual blank they can draw? Spell Snare. Yeah, Spell Snare. Counter spells that aren't cryptic. Well, even counter spells that aren't cryptic are kind of bad for us. It's like exactly Spell Snare. Because like I kind of want to flash back other draw spells to like put more threats into play. Alright, that's another threat. I just need to see more cards here, I think. That's unfortunate. The top card of my deck was Temur Battle Rage. I boarded the second Battle Rage out, which I think is correct to do. Sometimes you need to punk them in situations like this, but a lot of the time it's just not very good. I did have one more snap left in my deck. Yeah, I had one more snap left. Oh, we're gonna come up short. All right, so 2-2 in games against blue white. 1-2-0, lost 2-0. When you think about scouring the opponents as Death Shadow, when you're land light with no angler, I feel like I've scoured over enough land to consider that scenario. So here's the thing about Magic decks, is Magic decks are big enough and games tend to be short enough, even against blue-white control, that milling a card like a land isn't that dissimilar to never drawing it. And the upside you gain from putting extra spells in your discard pile when you have things like Snapcaster Mage or especially a Jace Vryn Prodigy flipped over is a really high upside. So you need to be able to detach yourself from the emotional feel bad of, oh, I milled over the card that I wanted to draw, because in reality it's no different than just never having drawn it. So you have to do a little bit of a build our own draw spell here. I don't really want a Thought Scour, so before I cycle the Street Wraith, I'm going to go ahead and fetch. And if I wanted to draw the Thought Scour, I would cycle the Street Wraith before fetching. I'm going to go ahead and cycle Street Wraiths to get started here, just so I know what my hand looks like before I make a decision on what I want to take from them. Well, and like, so milling in Magic is very different than milling in a game like Hearthstone, for instance, which I think is where some of the confusion comes up. So in Hearthstone, where the decks are smaller and you tend to see your entire deck in a lot of games, the dynamic on milling over a useful card is very different as opposed to in Magic the Gathering, where you're not very likely to see every card in your deck every game. So I think there's a big, especially people who come from Hearthstone as a game, that there's that bit of confusion basically of what is meaningful and what's not, and why it's meaningful and why not. Just Tron things. Maybe with the Temur Battle Rage we're gonna kill them here anyways, but that's definitely a feel bad. So for reference, I Inquisitioned them, and I took their ability to set up Tron on turn 3, and then they drew another way to set up Tron on turn 3. Man, it's been a long time since we've played Moto for this long. How much RAM are we using, Moto? Almost 2 gigs. Probably want to kick it soon. It's been a while since we played enough Moto to do the old mem check. All right, so I'm gonna fetch shock here, and then I think I just plan to snap Inquisition. We might just have them dead through this Worm Coil that he says before his opponent draws Karn. Because this knocks them to 14, and then next turn this is going to be a 9/9 with double strike, and I get to attack with the Snapcaster Mage as well. So this will be 18-20, and they're putting 6 toughness in front of it. So yeah, they're actually dead here if they play Wormcoil. Because if they block the Snapcaster Mage when we attack with both, I just push the Snapcaster Mage so they don't lifelink. And if they put this in front of here, I first strike, they go to 9 or they go to 11. Yeah. Quick maths, I believe they're dead. I believe they're dead to attack with all, thanks to Temur about it. And this is why, like I've said, this is my favorite interactive deck to be playing in Modern, is because like when being interactive isn't good, you're just like, alright, combo kill you. Right, because this does 12 and this does 2. They're at 14. And they don't get to lifelink because my thing has first strike. And double strike trampled works the way we want it to work. Just kill you on 4-3 or Wormcoil Engine, no big deal. Welcome to Modern. Welcome to Modern. Do I have Grixis Shadow on my website? I feel like I probably should. I don't remember if I have a page up there for that. I'm gonna message my graphics guy and get a Grixis Shadow banner. I'm glad you did 36 damage that game. Alright, K Command is fine. Stroke's great. Ceremonious Rejection is fine. Shattering Blow is great. Fatal Push and Dismember are bad. I just like bored in a cheeky Surgical Extraction or a cheeky Lightning Bolt. I feel like cheeky Lightning Bolt's probably better. Just like for random jump up and kill you. Jace Vryn's Prodigy is much too slow. The Hallowed Phoenix deck. I've not played it. We played against it once. It was like, that was one of those decks that like popped up, posted a couple moto results, and then just fell off the face of the earth. And it's fine. Got turn two fish potentially with Stubborn Denial. Yeah, this is one of the I would expect this deck I expect this deck to be very popular at the Mythic Championship this coming weekend. It's interactive in a way that you want to be interactive in Modern, and it's very consistent's a good word for it. It does what it wants to do almost every game. So this puts me to 4 cards in my bin. So if I hit another fetch land here, I can Gurmag Angler. That's unfortunate. Missing on the land sucks too, because it means the Snapcaster Mage doesn't get to do anything yet. They have Natural Tron. Oops. Have my fat stubby D opponent. We're probably dead here because they have Natural Tron, but it feels good to get to do that. I'm all about the feels. Alright, what do you got? Oh, is that all? Just Dismembers and Thragtusk and double Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger? Alright, so here's the game plan, chat. We're going to pretend these 2 cards don't exist, because we can never beat them in a million years. So we're going to take this Thragtusk away here. We're going to cast this Gurmag Angler. We're going to cross our fingers. But they just like spin their, we want to draw a fetch land next turn, and we want to, the story ends with them drawing an Urza's Tower next turn and us conceding, but the play to win line is take the Thragtusk and hope to kill them. And Tower Ulamog is in our future for people that have peeked ahead and read the next chapter. All right, not directly Tower Ulamog, but good enough. Not directly what we were talking about, but good enough. Cross your fingers and clench your butt cheeks. They're playing Shrine. So, hope to dodge. Please don't do it. Please. Please have mercy. Yeah, I mean, that's magic, Hasu. Sometimes your opponent does the thing and you don't do your thing, and that's just like how magic works. Every deck has some kind of failure rate, basically. This hand's probably not good enough, right? So when it puts one card into my bin, it puts two cards into my bin. I bolt them for the third card. Maybe this is good enough. I don't know. It doesn't have counter spells. If this was like a fetch land, I would keep this because then I could shadow on two, but it's not. He would actually be really good if it had another fetch land in it. This hand's reasonable. I think I'm gonna ditch. I think I'm gonna ditch Thought Scour. That might be greedy. That might be greedy. Maybe I'm supposed to keep both cantrips. Just because I don't have a second land. Might be right to just like ditch Inquisition or Stub here. Yeah, not having fishes. Opponent's mulligan to 4. Opponent's mulligan to 3. Well, obviously I should have ditched a discard spell because they're mulliganing to 3. This is the part where they like turn 3 card me, right? They mulligan to 3. They're gonna turn 3 Karnas. I know you're feeling down. How about I punch you in the face? Sha. Alright, I would like this one, please. One of your finest chromatical spheres, please. If there isn't a massive amount of Tron in London, I'll be shocked. Fetch land. Fetch land. Well, there's the big fish to punish my bottom. Yikes! We are super dead, aren't we? Tron. Play my 1/1 for 1. Look how incredibly fair it is. Just a little baby 1/1. Itty bitty baby 1/1. Alright, I would like to Stubborn Denial your Ancient Stirrings. And that one. That one also getting Stubborn Denialed. No, New Perspective is too slow and clunky for Modern. Modern's a fast, brutal format. Good lord. Good golly. Welcome to Modern. Welcome to Modern. Just Tron things. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Hold your breath and clench your butt cheeks. Tron's here. I mean, at least, like, Wormcoil's like their best draw, right? Wormcoil's what we're looking to dodge. What incarnation? Holy crap, they bricked. Holy gosh, our opponent drew a brick. I don't understand, chat. Does anybody understand what's going on? I don't understand what's going on. They're not dead yet. They're going. I can only put them to 2. Should they file for comp? Is their Tron deck broken? I feel like this is the part where they go Tower Ulamog and just destroy us, right? Don't do it. Have a heart. Whew. I like playing against unlucky Tron players. They are my favorite. Land Ugin, yep. Land Ugin also not pretty. Land Ostone not pretty. There were a lot of not pretty outcomes there for us. Tron always seems really good when I play against it. It feels really bad when I try to play it. Yep. It's an incredibly high variance deck. It's like a 90-10 deck. Like, the highs are really high and the lows are just like bottom out low. And then, like, didn't have any black man in it. And then it's probably fine. I think I push a Temur Battle Rage in the Dark. Maybe. I don't know. The London Mulligan seems like it favors... Seems like it's good for all decks that are kind of linear. And, like, Tron's not great against linear decks, so... If decks that are good against Tron get better, it's kind of a wash if Tron gets better too. I think at the end of the day, just like every deck is better, and if every deck is better, are any of them really better? Is like the question to ask yourself. If they're all good, are they actually all bad? I think I'm just taking Displacer here. I'd argue a lot of the decks you're discussing there, Brightstar, in my opinion, the decks that people are worried about that get worse with the London Mulligan are decks that already weren't good in Modern. I think the London Mulligan, all it's going to change is it's going to, I think the London Mulligan likely widens the differential between the decks that are good and the decks that aren't. I think the decks that were bad before, the decks that are going to get worse already weren't that good. And the decks that are getting better were already the best. We're going to wait to play this Death Shadow until it's bigger than a 5/5 now. Probably fetch Steam Vents and Thought Scour myself at end of turn. Unless they play a Thought Knot Seer, in which case we'll fetch Fatal Push. Am I getting Chalice of the Voided? I might be getting Chalice of the Voided. I just have no desire to play against Chalice of the Void. This deck has 2 cards in a sideboard that destroy Chalice of the Void, and that's not enough for me to sit here in and be miserable, so we're gonna roll along to the next one here. Oop. Come along to carry me home. Man, we are pounded through the leagues. The last few modern leagues we played took a little while. Had like 3 one-hour leagues today. Is perspective the only thing that will change with the new mulligan rule? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean by perspective? Happy Easter, Chalky. Go. Click. Why aren't you clicking? Oh, did I get there in time? I might have missed it. Oh, I think I got there. All right. 3 lands, 3 cantrips. Keep. Got a deck of the day yet? No, not really. The Narset Cannon League was fine. Like, Narset things considered. I'm waiting to Serum Visions until after I crack both my fetches. Because I want the cards that I'm bottoming off my Serum Visions to stay on the bottom. Sure. It's got 4 Terminus in it. Sounds great. Terminus is a powerful card. This exposes us to Lightning Bolt. Like, in my hand, it's exposed to Burning Inquiry, and I'd like to, like, get it attacking ASAP. Looking to build a modern deck. Is there anything besides green-black elves that's reasonably priced? No, not that's very good. It depends on what your definition of reasonably priced is. The easiest way to answer your question is, like, pull up MTG Goldfish and just, like, look at the list of decks that are listed there. It has all the prices embedded on their page. Looking for a threat here. Oh. I think we're dead here. We have double Phoenix. Has your steep decline of MTGO content ever since you started playing Arena negatively impacted any of your MTGO sponsorships? Yeah, in fact, I was up front with the MTGO Traders Folk Serum when I moved to doing more Arena at the beginning of the year / end of last year, and we adjusted our sponsorship accordingly to be for less, since I was going to be doing less Magic Online. I don't really know what I want to board here. I think the Blood Gas and the Phoenixes are annoying enough that I want Surgical Extraction. Bolt seems better than Fatal Push. Because this doesn't kill Fish or Hollowed One out of their side. Do I want Shattering Blow? I think I want Kolaghan's Command because the shatters, what's it called? Hollowed One? I think Disdainful Stroke's too slow. Against another aggressive deck, I might want to trim some of these cantrips. Just like don't have time to get the mana going for them. I think I want to trim some Fatal Push. It's like okay against their 1/1 drop, but kind of mediocre the rest. I'm just gonna like trim around the edges here. I think our primary game plan is just like discard spells into threats and kill them. Our big issue that game was that I didn't have a Gurmag Angler and my Death Shadow got bolted. And like maybe I could have stood to have been more conservative with my Death Shadow. It's definitely a possibility. Those two things are at odds, Ebok. You're like asking how do you make the format less competitive but still competitive? And like the easy answer is you just need to implement your own local ban list, right? Just like ban a bunch of the busted cards. EDH just doesn't seem like a format that works very well as a competitive format. Doing competitive and EDH always seemed like they were at odds to each other to me. Blood Moon, rude. Let's take that one. Hey Rogue, thanks for the 34 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Pinot Graham, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I hope you're having a fantabulous weekend. Thanks for keeping me around. I think I'm taking it slow here. I know they have a bolt this time around, so I'm not going to play the Death Shadow out into it. I think it's going to be like end step, fetch a shock land, tapped, untap, snap, Thoughtseize them. And actually, I'm going to get this untapped, because if I get it untapped and then I Thoughtseize, my opponent can no longer Lightning Bolt my Death Shadow, which is ideal. Because they'll be 4/4s. Double Bolt Flamewake Phoenix. Yikes. I think I need to actually take a bolt here, huh? Because I don't want to just, like, die by mistake, basically. Yes, Greg. I think the fact that a new 1-drop can take player counters from players is likely indicative of the fact that the new format's going to extend back into Kaladesh. There's some format of EDH that has am I opponent conceding? No, it's Moto's just learning slowly. Where there's like a point system for cards you can include into your deck that's supposed to be more balanced, I think. I don't play EDH, but I think I remember hearing something about that. Is that Canadian Highlander? Urkadar, thank you for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, I was... Do I just try and kill them here? I think I try and kill them here. I think I just don't play around a third bolt, and I just, like, try and lethal them. That's also very lethal. Well, I mean, like, your statement's just really weird, Ebok. You literally were just like, how do I make my non-competitive format less competitive while still keeping it competitive? It's just like weird. What you're actually, I think it's mostly a vernacular issue. I think a verbiage issue, a descriptor issue. Like, what you're actually looking for is, I think what you mean is you want to decrease the power level of what's going on. You want a lower power level format, which means you just need to ban things that are busted. If you want the games to be slower so people just aren't getting combo killed, slow the format down. There's a difference between the speed of the format and how competitive the format is, though. I half answered someone's question a second ago about streaming today. I'm not streaming on Wednesday because Moto's down and Arena doesn't have the new cards yet. So, rather than take an extra day off this week, I decided I still wanted to do 3 days of Modern. I mean, that's not strictly true, Fonzetti. The fact that EDH's Singleton is supposed to be a valve to increase the variance to allow it to be a more casual setting. The higher health total is a valve that's there to slow the game down to allow it to be a more casual setting. So to say, like, it's not intended to be a casual format just because, like, there isn't an explicit thing written down in the rules that says, hey, this is casual, I think is nonsense. I'm gonna Thought Scour myself here and see where we get going. Could maybe find the discard spell. Fatal Push isn't bad. I'm gonna shock this in. I put a stop on my opponent's draw step here, because inside of their draw step, I'm gonna surgical their Bloodghast. And then that'll let me see the rest of their hand, and if they have, like, another Hollowed one, or another Gurmag Angler, or another Goblin Lore, I might surgical one of those cards to take the card out of their hand. Vintage is not Singleton. Vintage has a restricted list for some of the cards that are really busted in it, but it's very far from Singleton. Alright, and my opponent's hand is really bad here, but they have a Goblin Lore to potentially fix it. And I'm going to go ahead and surgical their Goblin Lore here, because it's basically turning my surgical into a discard spell since I know about the contents of their hand. Click equity, JW, it just doesn't matter. It's Vintage Singleton. Not really. Are mocks legal in Vintage? I guess I don't know. At the end of the day, I think anybody who's trying to sell me the nectar of EDH is intended to be competitive, I think is nonsense. I think that's a real bad take. I think you can play it in a competitive setting, but to say it was intended to be that way is nonsense. Sure. It's like you can have like a coin flipping or a rock paper scissors competition, but it doesn't mean those games were designed with competition in mind, right? Yeah, Twin. You're not going to do anything else with them. Yeah, I definitely agree, Ebok. I'm looking forward to having something that's not modern and not standard for when standard gets to the end of a life cycle. The end of this standard life cycle definitely wore on me a little bit. Whoa, 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 I won an iPad at Gen Con playing Rock, Paper, Scissors in 2014. That's awesome. Hey, happy Easter to you too, Ace. Thank you for the 3 months. Really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Best competition is deck queue competition where the crowns fight to put a deck to the top. God bless them. Wow, they drew another Flamewake Phoenix, huh? That's awkward. Want to fetch land. That's a Street Wraith. This is a little sketch because it kills me a turn sooner. I almost was like, maybe I should snap Surgical on their... I was going to snap Surgical the Phoenix on their draw step that turn, and then we drew the Gurmag Angler. Alright, that's a fetch land. Yeah, I'm not playing around anything here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put them to 16 here. Actually, now this is fine. So I can hold up Stub to beat Lightning Bolt. If they have a second Phoenix, I get punished here. If they have Delve Threat plus... If they have this Delve Threat and they have a Lightning Bolt, I'm dead. Because now I have to Fatal Push this and then snap Surgical the birds. What's our record? We're 2-2. This is game 3 of the 5th match. And we're definitely not in a good spot here at the moment. Because I'm at 1. They have a Faithless Looting. Okay. What do I have to worry about here? They have 4 bolts in their deck. Yikes. They have a Terminate. They're out of birds. They don't have any Blood Gas. Did I take Blood Gas earlier this game? I might have. Yeah, I took Blood Gas earlier this game. This seems fine. You could try other games too, Ebok. Like, deck building board games are a great alternative if you're feeling a little bit burnt on Magic and, like, want a different format that doesn't exist. Like, deck building games are A+ fantastic. I'm going to attack and offer this trade. If they take it, that's great, because it means they don't have a chump blocker for my Death Shadow next turn. If they don't take it, I've hit them for 5, then they can't attack in, because I have a giant blocker. Hey, Skipped In. Thanks for the 6-month resub. I really appreciate the half-year support. Welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. All right, clench, everybody. Is it worth it to Stubborn Denial this? I think it is, because I can't stub creatures, and I can't stub... I can't stub, like, multiple things. I guess they'd only have 1 card left over. Maybe stubbing that's wrong. I don't know. Temur Battle Rage, please. Dismember, please. Things we're not playing for 100. Alright, so I attack with both of these. They're obligated to chump block here and go to 4, which means I have 2 lethal attackers next turn. They don't have any haste threats left in their deck because I've taken both their Blood Gas and their Flamewake Phoenixes. Oh, Magic. Well, they hit their 4 out of 38. Womp womp. Maybe I'm supposed to keep the stub there. I don't know. I closed my picture of their deck, but like keeping, I guess because most of their creatures are delve threats. Maybe I'm supposed to save the Stubborn Denial because, like, my thought in Stubborn Denialing was that Stubborn Denialing prevents them from finding creatures, which then give them chump blocks, which then give them more turns. But I could see that being incorrect, and maybe I'm just supposed to, like, save the stub for the actual bolt and, like, just, like, use my Death Shadow to pound through their various blockers. Wouldn't be surprised if you, like, sat down and, like, looked at their decks and the cards they had left and just, like, calculated that using the stub on the Faithless was wrong, especially because they only had one card in hand. So, like, the Faithless Looting there wasn't going to be able to give them 2 useful cards. Like, it sees 2 more, but, like, it leaves them with just 1 thing left at the end of it. All things considered, I don't really have strong opinions on this archetype. The details here are pretty similar to a lot of the other details in the format. There's the other iterations that we played before. The Shattering Blow is kind of cheeky because it beats Welding Jar, which is nice. I like a couple copies of Temur Battle Rage. The rest of it's all like pretty stock and reasonable. I'm going to look back over the last couple times. We played this deck a few times in recent months. I'm going to look back over the last couple iterations. And I think put a version of this up on the website for easy reference in the future. So that way I can, when people say, hey, what's your preferred list, I can just link them there. All right, let's restart Moto really quick here. Since that thing is hemorrhaging memory, enjoy the beautiful Bloodbraid Elf. We'll play some Tron here next.